The package shuddered to a halt before the gates of Blackwood Manor. Rain lashed against the windshield, blurring the already indistinct shapes of the overgrown grounds. Silas gripped the door handle, his knuckles white. "Are you certain about this, Elias? This place, it feels wrong." Elias, usually so animated, stared blankly ahead, his features sharp and gaunt in the dim light. "It's just an old house, Silas." Abernathy seemed quite certain it was the place. A tremor ran through his hand, barely perceptible as he spoke. The gates, of iron twisted into grotesque shapes of phony vines and leering faces, creaked open as if by an unseen hand. A figure emerged from the shadows, the caretaker, his face a mask of austere piety. "Welcome," he said, his voice thin but resonant. "You are expected." The drive was a goblet of ancient trees, bare branches clawing at the sky. The manor itself loomed, a hulking silhouette against the storm-racked heavens. Its windows were dark eyes, watching, judging. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. Abernathy never mentioned it being this asterisk dilapidated, Silas muttered, his voice barely audible above the drumming rain. "Abernathy tends to gloss over unpleasant details," Elias replied, his voice flat, detached. The caretaker led them through a maze of shadowy corridors, past portraits of stern-faced men and women whose eyes seemed to follow their every move. Finally, they reached a circular chamber, its walls lined with more portraits. In the center stood a stone pedestal, and upon it rested the music box. It pulsed with a faint, sickly luminescence. "The heart of the manor," the caretaker intoned, his gaze fixed on the music box. "A place of harmony." As Elias approached the pedestal, he stumbled, a flicker of pain crossing his face. "I feel strange," he murmured, "like something is pulling me." The caretaker smiled, a thin, unsettling expression. "The music calls to those who are attuned." Silas stepped forward, placing a hand on Elias's arm. "Elias, you don't look well. Let's just leave it here. This whole thing feels wrong." Elias shook him off gently, his eyes fixed on the music box. He reached out, his fingers brushing against the cool metal. A melody, faint at first, then growing stronger, filled the chamber. It was a tune Abernathy had described, haunting, hypnotic, utterly alien. Abernathy, back at his antique shop, felt a chill despite the warmth of the fire. He was cataloguing a new shipment when he heard it, a familiar melody, faint and distorted, seemingly coming from nowhere. A flicker of memory, sharp and unsettling, flashed through his mind. A shadowy figure, a swelling vortex of sound, a feeling of overwhelming dread. He shivered, pulling his coat tighter around him. What asterisk was asterisk that? He whispered to the empty shop. The music faded, leaving him with a lingering sense of unease and a growing certainty that he had unwittingly unleashed something terrible. The melody intensified, weaving its way into Elias's mind. He began to sway, his eyes glazed over. A strange luminescence emanated from his skin, highlighting the sharpness of his features. "It's beautiful," he whispered, his voice echoing strangely in the chamber. Silas watched in horror as Elias began to sing, the words forming a language he didn't understand, a language that seemed to vibrate with an ancient power. The melody warped, twisting into something darker, more malevolent. "Elias, stop!" Silas cried, but his voice was lost in the rising tide of music. The caretaker's smile widened. "The balance is being restored." Elias's singing reached a fever pitch. The portraits on the walls seemed to writhe, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Cracks spiderwebbed across the stone floor. Then, as suddenly as it began, the singing stopped. Elias collapsed onto the pedestal, his body convulsing. The music box fell silent. The chamber plunged into an oppressive stillness. Silas rushed to Elias's side, his face etched with fear. "Elias, what's wrong?" Elias didn't respond. He lay motionless, his eyes vacant, his skin radiating a faint, unsettling glow. The caretaker regarded him with a look of unsettling triumph. "The vessel is repaired." Silas stared at Elias, a cold dread gripping his heart. He knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that the man he knew, the friend he had trusted, was gone. Something else occupied his body now, something ancient, powerful, and utterly alien. "What have you done?" Silas whispered, his voice trembling. The caretaker offered a cryptic smile. "I have simply opened a door. The music, it calls to those who are meant to answer." He gestured towards the silent music box. "The harmony is almost complete.